We're back with Eric Schiffer, the CEO of Patriarch Equity and Digital Marketing, and his new book, Build. The first time I talked to you, I was like, this guy is something else. We need to get him on camera. And it's surprising. I love AJ. He's your publicist, right?
Yes, yeah.
I
wouldn't say publicist. I would say that he's producing. He's a producer. He did the Laura Ingraham show.
Did he?
He was one of the producers on that show, and several other pretty successful shows on the radio. So he's been involved on my upcoming radio show that is in production.
Are you going to do television too?
Well, there certainly are offers for TV along the business line. So it would be a business personality
kind of thing.
Type of show, absolutely.
Right, and I think that there are some people that can really do both easily, and I think you could.
Mm-hmm.
And you were just on my radio show
we had a nice discussion.
And we did have a nice discussion. And you're not what I love about you is you're not afraid to speak out. And would you consider, well, you're not a millennial. You're an
my soul.
Your soul is a millennial. All of us are millennials in our soul, right?
How can you even ask that question?
But you're not afraid to stand up and say what you feel.
Absolutely.
And I think that there's so many people out there that are, that it's interesting. I lived in Turkey, I lived in Singapore, and we lived in England, and we lived in Spain. And my roots are Jewish. And my mother, who's 92, wanted me to find out the whole story.
Right.
I mean, she was always like this little black sheep kid, she was from a very wealthy family, but she was always in trouble, because she was always doing something wild and crazy, And so it was funny because when I lived in Turkey, I had a lot of friends from Israel and used to work with the Israeli embassy and whatever. And so when I came back to the States, I started in the travel industry as well. Mm-hmm. And that's how I got such a great deal here. Right. And so anyhow, it was interesting to go to Israel because it kind of reminded me, Eric, of Turkey in the way the land, the weather, everything, right? The way it's built.
Well, it's not too far.
It's not too far.
Yeah.
But I felt actually very, very safe there, more so than I felt anywhere in the world.
This is something that a lot of people
don't understand
unless you've been there. Despite the fact that there's terrorism potential,
surrounding
it exists anywhere. You can easily hurt yourself in a car, or but the major areas are very safe, and there's police force and special service, and secret service, and a lot of. The Israeli Defense Force is probably one of the strongest, best fighting force
in
the world. And so you do have this sense of safety. It's counterintuitive to what the media shows. The media shows through this very narrow prism, and that's the thing with the media. You have to, and that's why it's important to travel, so you can get your own perspective on things.
And I think my children and I think my family, my unit, really understands the world more so because they lived everywhere and they were exposed to it, and it's amazing how I felt when I came back to the United States after we would live overseas. The longest we lived overseas was 7 years.
Sure.
So coming back, you see that unfortunately the media really brainwashes a lot of people.
Well, they do. And it's important to travel for that reason.
Right.
That you make your own choices, you make your own observations, you get a sense of what is real
and what's
for
not
you,
real,
and what's not real based upon how the media may filter it.
Right. Absolutely. And it's funny because through my radio show, which we've been in radio for so many years. We've been in radio for about 25 years now, and to me, it's a gold mine of people and connections.
Yes.
Where you'll never get that anywhere else.
That's true.
Is that true?
That's true, yes.
We use social network, we use different other things to connect with all of it, but having a radio show that's not all political and that has many genres makes it even more interesting because I get to juggle a lot. So, what type of a show? Are you going to have a business show and political, or what?
Well, the radio show is focused on helping people solve their entrepreneurial problems, and also tying in, and that includes celebrities, it includes famous newsmakers, and then also tying into the way in which some of the public policy and politics and large economic decisions filter down. So it'll be a combination of, I would say, very focused problem solving to help improve people's lives that are running small and medium-sized businesses,
Right.
all the way to hearing how certain people may lead that are on the very rich and famous side, and also on the political side, how all of the changes that are going on affect people in the small business side in real ways. So there are many shows that give very what I would consider to be snippets on how to fix things, but nothing holistically, nothing to really help you understand how do I really make this happen if I'm a career person? How do I, if I'm a small entrepreneur, how do I actually make it successful to where I don't have to worry anymore? And then if I'm successful, how do I make it really scale? What are the things that we need to do in a real way that also takes into consideration who they are as people and balancing their life too. So there's a lot of interest in, and that's the one that AJ is preparing and putting together.
Well, he's a very exciting person himself.
He's a character.
I know he is, because I've sent you one of my clients, Dan Perkins, and Dan just absolutely adores him. And actually, Dan is a registered investment advisor still. And then he's the author of the Brotherhood of the Red Nile series, which is Target On. And so when I started reading some of the different people that he has on radio, and he publicizes.
Sure.
He was the man for Dan. So I think when you look at different people, I think that entrepreneurs have a special vision where they can automatically see way ahead.
Yes, and I think that entrepreneurs also have that vision, which can be a curse too, which is that you can see far ahead.
Right.
And part of what makes someone like Larry Ellison at Oracle successful is that he doesn't get too far ahead. The trick is ensuring that you are not so far ahead that the market isn't ready for it. It's really about combining what you see as something that will be adopted with the zeitgeist of the time, meaning that you connect the dots, the nexus between the right time and the right idea is met with the right message to communicate it so people get it. And those things are what few people get. And that's the important piece, is that and that requires being in reality, requires focusing on the facts. And that's a balance also that's hard for entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs sometimes close out.
Well, it's interesting that you said that, because, and on that note, we have to take a short break, and I'll bring that thought back when we come back from these messages. And we'll be right back. Give your book, and they're going to be, when is this coming out? In December?
December.
And it's called Build. That's
Build.
awesome. Build. Okay. We'll be right back with Eric Schiffer, CEO of Patriarch Equity and Digital Marketing, right after these messages.